We are in Switzerland visiting the headquarters of Mammut, and we have some days climbing around outdoors. There was one crag that I really liked from the pictures, and I've always wanted to visit it for quite a few years. Katy Choong is a Mammut athlete, and it's her home crag, and the crag is called Soyhières.
Alors on est ici à Soyhières, dans le canton du Jura, en Suisse. Et c'est une falaise où il y a beaucoup de voitures qui ont été équipées dans les années 80. Et c'est une falaise assez spéciale parce qu'il y a beaucoup de voies en dévers. Et c'est assez spécial pour la région. Soyhières, c'est ma falaise vraiment à côté de la maison. J'y vais depuis que je suis toute petite. J'ai fait mon premier 8A, premier 8B. Pour moi qui est quelqu'un de l'étranger, et puis surtout Adam, un des meilleurs grimpeurs du monde qui viennent. Et s'il les voit, c'est super cool et ça me fait vraiment plaisir.
As we only have one day, I was really excited to try some of the classic routes for Onsight try, as I always do when I'm in the crag for the first time. And there was quite a lot to choose from. Quite a few 8Cs, one 8C plus, one 9A. It was hard to decide where to start. So I started with an 8B plus called Deja, an absolutely classic. It's 25 meters of really pumpy climbing, basically from the ground to the top. You can fall anywhere. There are some tricky crags which are probably even quite hard in isolation, but I think probably the hardest moves are here low down, and this one is probably also the least obvious. I just decided to campus it because that was the safe way to do it. Higher up, it's less steep. I'm not sure if it was the sun that made it really hard to see, but those couple of seconds hesitation when it was really hard to preview the sequence from below, and I was climbing just like, where is the next hold? Where is the next hold? And that made it ultimately pretty pumpy. While I was climbing, I was wondering, maybe this route was maybe a bit too much as a warm-up, because I definitely got pumped. Some people prefer getting pretty pumped during the warm-up. I'm probably the opposite. I definitely need a little bit of pump, but if I get a little too much pump during my warm-up, then I feel my max power is just not the same that day. The main goal of the day was an 8C plus called the temps difficile. Obviously, I wanted to try it to give it a good Onsight go.
Les temps difficiles, c'est une voie en 8C+, qui a été ouverte par Philm à la fin des années 80. Et c'est une voie qui a un bloc qui est très difficile au début et vraiment difficile à faire à vue en fait. Et il a une histoire un peu particulière. Il y a eu des prises qui ont été remplies par du béton après que Philm ait essayé la voie en fait, quand il était très proche de la faire pour l'empêcher en fait, de la réussir. Et finalement ça a été enlevé et puis là, il n'a malheureusement pas pu la réussir, mais la voie est de nouveau grimpable.
So it looked like that there will be a hard crux around 4 or 5th bolt. The lower part didn't look too bad, and as I started climbing, it was probably even juggier than I expected. I think my climbing flow here was perfect. I didn't have too many problems. Here I thought the knee bar would be a little bit better, but up to here you almost do no hard moves, so I was pretty fresh and I just kept on going. Funnily enough, I only took a left knee pad because I was only seeing this first knee bar, but here I got to this underclink hole, and right now I kind of realized, it would be nice to have a right knee pad on, and it was kind of obvious that without a knee pad, that knee bar would be just way too bad. So I just decided to keep going. tried quite hard in my onside try. I wasn't that far off, but I didn't do it. I think it's a really hard one to onside. The crux is basically just 2 moves on a really tiny left-hand crimp, really slopey right-hand crimp, and do a big move to a good hold. But when I was on my onside try, I didn't really expect it to be that good. So I just tried to go a little more controlled, and I just didn't gain enough height to get the hold. I still wanted to give it second try for this 8C+, but first I still wanted to take advantage of feeling fresh and go for another onside, an 8C called Chant puddlefill. I made it up to the rest. It was quite powerful through this traverse section. I definitely wasn't feeling too fresh, but this hole is pretty good. So I think I spent there around 2 minutes and then kept on going into the crux.
Chant c'est une voie qui a été équipée par Chris Frick et la première ascension est de Simon Vandeler. Et c'est une voie qui est un peu plus en endurance avec une traversée sur des petites réglettes assez fatigante. Ensuite, il y a vraiment un grand trou où on peut bien se reposer. Et là, c'est là qu'il y a le crux sur des toutes petites prises et un jeté que moi, j'ai pas réussi encore à faire, suivi par une fin un peu plus facile. Et c'est vraiment une super jolie voie.
Ah. Ah. Mm. Ah. After the crux, I expected that the climbing would be quite easy. It was still quite challenging and I was a bit more pumped than I expected, but I didn't let it go. Okay! Woo! Yes! Oh, very lucky. Thank you. Thanks for the relay. 8C, pretty bouldery and unclear to onside with a dyno where it was really close to fall, but I don't know what saved me. Pretty happy about it. Katy is trying and it's definitely very morpho route. If she does it, I think it's completely different grade. 2 really big moves.
Well, maybe I just need to find another beta and be stronger.
And now it was again time to try le temps difficile, give it a second try. After I fell on my onside try, I just worked out the crag sequence and I was lowered down. I was back in here in this hole with the right knee pad on, which not only made the rest a bit better, but I was also getting this left hand a little bit better. So I was holding these 2 crag crimps way better and made this big throw into an okay edge quite well. It was in the end a bit easier than I expected. But the interesting thing was later, as the top out is around 8B+, and I decided just not to go through it, just kind of not to waste my energy before an onside try of the previous 8C. So now it was kind of a little spicy. I think it was an interesting game, but I decided to go for it. And I didn't even want that much beta. I just wanted to kind of half onside it. And it worked out. Okay, take! Woohoo!
Ouais, Soyhières, c'est un endroit où c'est assez difficile d'avoir les bonnes conditions parce que c'est une face sud, il fait tout de suite très chaud ou alors il pleut et c'est tout de suite mouillé. Et ce matin, quand on s'est réveillé, il pleuvait tellement, on était presque sûr que ça allait pas le faire et on s'est envoyé un message pour savoir si on devait changer d'endroit. Et finalement, on a quand même essayé et c'était des conditions parfaites, il y avait beaucoup de vent et c'était sec et froid.
So the last route of the day was probably this most classic 8B+. I can't really consider it a proper onside because it shares the first few bolts with the Onsight pour le fil, this 8C. But still, to keep it a nice game, I didn't get any beta and it was definitely a fight. I was feeling quite tired, not surprisingly, and the handholds were quite hard to see. It was proper fight when I couldn't really preview any of the sequences and I was climbing in a way like, oh, where's the next hold? Oh, where's the next hold? Which, when it works out, it's one of the most fun onside climbing experience. And this route was really, really big fight. By one of those moments when you're just about to fall, but you just keep going, and that's something I really love. So in this lower part, the moves are definitely the hardest. Then you have some rests, but it's always like another crux, rest, another crux. And you have to be really focused all the way to the anchor. And the route actually doesn't get any more obvious. So it was a really successful day. I was able to onside 2 8B pluses, 1 8C and 1 8C plus second go. And also, by the way, which we didn't show in the video, check out another project. You are wondering maybe like how is that even possible to do so many routes just within actually afternoon? For me, doing such a big days out there at the crag is one of the most fun things in climbing. It's just so good to get a lot of meters done, especially when it's a brand new crag, and it's so much down to the strategy. So I had a clear goals, I had priorities. So my priority number 1 was 8C plus onside. I failed, so I left that priority aside, didn't go for it for the second go straight away, but instead second priority was 8C onside. And then I went back into the 8C plus, and then to finish the day I thought I would be still fresh enough to climb one more AB plus. So I think at every moment besides the first AB plus for the warm-up, I was pretty much going on the very limit, and the choice and the timing of these routes was really perfect. So I could really take advantage of this one day and those amazing conditions that we were lucky to have. Yeah, I think Soyhières definitely matched my expectations. It was fun, as it's always fun trying some badass routes for my onside try. They were not typical onside routes, they were pretty hard to read. I'm pretty proud of onsiding a Chant pour le fil, which I think was pretty hard to read. Had some also dynamic moves where I really had to commit, and I was lucky enough not to fall. And I'm sure of one day I will be back with the drilling machine to check some blank spots of the wall which hasn't been bolted, and I think it could be hard.